nella ciencia.
FYF Sportsman, it's Lamont. We are back with another podcast episode, back with our NBA season recap videos. As I said before, we're going to be going over every single NBA team, just basically giving our thoughts on what these teams can do to improve their rosters going into next season. And today, we're going to be talking about the Boston Celtics. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you have not done so already, I appreciate you guys watching on Newsbreak. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. But today we got the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, especially over the last couple of years, have been one of the most peculiar teams I've ever seen. They got two star-studded players. Both of these players, you know, they just glow with superstar potential, but we never really see either one of these guys take that next leap and really push that team to the next level. It also doesn't help that over the past couple of years, I feel like Danny Ainge has made some poor decisions in regards to improving this team. We watched Gordon Hayward, we watched Kyrie Irving, we even watched Al Horford all walk away from this team for absolutely nothing. I mean, that never bodes well when you have those types of players walk away and you get no assets, players, or you know, draft compensation back whatsoever. Although Danny Ainge did do a good job as far as bringing young talent in, we see the guys on the bench, Peyton Pritchard, we see obviously Jayson Tatum, and then we also see Jaylen Brown amongst the other good young players on that roster. But depth on the bench has always been a concern for this team, especially over the last couple of years, and it's really came back to haunt them in the playoffs. So today we're going to be getting to the NBA season recap of the Boston Celtics. Hopefully we can kind of figure out, after doing our research on this team, hopefully we can kind of get to what's wrong with this team and what they can do to improve that roster. The Boston Celtics have already made some major changes in the front office, and by the looks of it, the squad might be in line for a complete overhaul in the offseason. In a recent interview, team owner hinted at the prospect as he discussed the squad's immediate future. Based on his statements, it is clear that the Boston Celtics owner expects significant changes within the squad in this coming few weeks and months. The Boston Celtics owner stated, "We really try hard not to talk about future contracts and particular guys. The roster is not complete, and there's a lot we have to do going forward with a lot of potential trades, I would imagine." Just reading the wires and thinking a little bit, talking to Brad Stevens, who's now the GM, there's a lot of stuff that could happen this summer. At this point, it looks like the only players that possess untouchable status within the Boston Celtics roster are Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Everyone else appears to be fair game. Perhaps even Marcus Smart, despite the fact that he's considered to be one of the more influential personalities for the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics owner also hasn't closed the door on the possibility of the Celtics fielding the same squad next season. The question is, will Boston be a legitimate threat in the East with their current roster? All right, when we take a look at the Boston Celtics offseason outlook, first have to look at the free agents. The Boston Celtics have 5 free agents in which they have bird rights to all of these players. We got to start with Evan Fournier, the star shooting guard that joined the Celtic team by trade via this season. And he had some bright moments. We saw that there in the playoffs, but also throughout the season, we also saw Evan Fournier struggle to adjusting with this particular roster because this team just has 2 ball-dominant stars, and really everyone else is kind of left to fend for themselves. So re-signing Evan Fournier is going to be a must after trading for him. So they're going to have to find a way to keep him. We have Taco Fall. He's been on a 2-way contract the last couple of years, but he hasn't really been used or utilized at all on the court with any minutes that are tangible. They'll have to make a decision on him, although I do foresee this squad maybe re-signing them to another two-way contract or potentially giving them a minimum deal. We got Ojale. Ojale is just another player where, similar to Marcus Smart, he brings a lot on the defensive end, but he's just been an extreme liability on the offensive side of the ball. With regards to Ojale, the Celtics will need to make a decision. Is this a player we want to proceed with? Or is there a way we can improve by moving him or just allowing him to walk in free agency? Also, you got Tremont Waters and you got Luke Cornett, lesser known individuals who I feel will not be on this roster next year. They do have a number of tools to improve the roster. They do have the mid-level exception at $9.5 million, and they also have Gordon Hayward's trade exception for $11 million, and that doesn't expire. That expires in November of 2021 this year. So they have to. I see this team looking to make a strong playoff push. If this Boston Celtic team, if they're really looking to make a deep playoff run, it would be wise of them to go into the salary cap a bit, use some of those trade and mid-level exceptions to give this team depth. I think they missed some opportunities last year. Now, I know that they went after Drummond, and there were other players that they went after in the buyout market, but I think they're going to have to really try to go make moves in free agency. When we look at centers like Rashad Holmes, those types of players could really impact this roster. I don't think the Celtics really had a true starting center this year. I think Rashad Holmes would fit well with this group, help alleviate some of the scoring pressure off of Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. But there's also, you got guys like Hassan Whiteside if they want to go to the bottom end market for centers. But there are a number of players out there that they can look to bolster their roster with and not really go crazy in spending because of how, this free agency class isn't as strong as what we've seen in years past. So we have some key moves to make. You have to re-sign Evan Fournier. You cannot let another player walk without getting anything in return. You have to find a starting point guard replacement. Kemba Walker was traded to the OKC Thunder. They brought in some young talent and draft assets. So and they also brought back Al Horford. But what they need to do is they have to find a true starting point guard. And we saw how this team struggled trying to manufacture other players, even Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum at the point guard position. Nothing never gelled or even looked right. Obviously, the point guard out of Purdue University, Carson Edwards, he hasn't flourished to the degree where they trust him onto the court right now. Peyton Pritchard, even though he had bright flashes during the regular season, they really couldn't play him in the playoffs. He's not a true point. And then obviously Kemba Walker with his past injury issues. So what point guards out there on the market could this Celtic team bring in? Potentially a Mike Conley. There are ties between Mike Conley and Brad Stevens from Indiana. Could those ties and connections bring the Utah Jazz free agent over to Boston and fill a much needed void? But when you bring in a guy like Conley, you also have to consider the fact that he too has also had his own injury woes. And then lastly, we have Tristan Thompson. All right, they have too many centers basically. They have too many centers on this roster. When we look at Robert Smith, when we look at Tristan Thompson, now we got Al Horford and Moses Brown. The good thing is that about the center position is you can never have too many centers. So now they have the option to kind of pick and choose who they want to proceed with, whether they keep 2 or 3 of these guys. I can see them keeping 2 or 3 of them, maybe sending Moses Brown to the G League for some extra run and bringing them back late season. Don't think they'll proceed with all of them, but they've done a solid job by bringing Al Horford back in that trade. Al Horford actually had a pretty good season, although it was pretty quiet in OKC last year. So those are the moves that I feel that this Boston team needs to make. I want you guys to hit the comments. Let me know what you think about the Boston Celtics. I honestly think that this team is really a player or two away from being big-time contenders. It's just hard to really get a gauge on how good this team actually is when the last 2 years they've been playing without a complete roster. They've been dealing with injuries. I mean, even this year they dealt with injuries most of the year to Marcus Smart. All right, then we had injuries to both Jaylen Brown and and Jayson Tatum. So I mean, it hasn't really seen a lot of consistency yet with this team. I hope to see that this year is all of these players are probably going to be coming back healthy. But what can Brad Stevens do as the new GM of this team? They also have a new coach, but what can they do to bolster this roster, give these stars more depth so that they can actually make a serious run? And now they know what they're up against. They know that now we have to deal with the Sixers, we have to deal with the Nets, we have to deal with the Bucks. Those are the 3 top teams. So what talent can they bring in next year to where we say that the Boston Celtics can equally compete with those top teams? So you guys, let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? I mean, have you been to trade.net? Have you tried to generate any potential trades? What are your thoughts on who can they bring in to bolster this roster? I would love to know. Obviously, as you guys already know, when we have our live streams, you guys can bring these topics up. If you're a Boston Celtics fan, obviously we got True to King. We got a few other guys who are Boston fans. Make sure you come in. Let us know your thoughts on the direction of this team. What are your thoughts on the new coach hire? Or even Brad Stevens sticking around, staying with the organization and just moving up to the GM spot while Danny Ainge steps down. Crazy moves with Boston Celtics, but I really think Brad Stevens can be a great GM for this team. He's really good at identifying talent. We saw that at Butler University, but can those skills translate to the NBA? All right, hey, what's FYF Sports, man? It's been another great podcast episode. We're going to be coming back with more NBA recap videos, so make sure you stay tuned to this channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we're going to be dropping these videos at least 3 to 4 a week as we look to cover all 30 NBA teams in our recap series. Hey, but it's FYF Sports, man. It's been another great podcast episode. We'll be back with more sports and news later, but until then, it's FYF Sports. Yeah.
Shit, I don't know where to begin. Hell on earth, I'm a demon. Fuck with you, well, that depends. Don't want them think that I need them. So that good and that decent. Strapped up on the defense. Run the streets, I need deep in. Swim with sharks on the deep end. Shit, I don't know where to begin. Hell on earth, I'm a demon. Fuck with you, well, that depends. Don't want them think that I need them. So that good and that decent. Strapped up on the defense. Run the streets, I need deep in. Swim with sharks on the deep end. Money problems got me thinking. Try stay afloat, fuck sinking. Gotta win, let that sink in. Gotta wake 'em up, cause niggas sleeping. Stressing, smoking, and I'm drinking. Went through a phase, popping pink tints. Can't be late, fuck a pink slip. Can't fold a tell, cause that's some weak shit. Raised by some real ones on some real shit. Still run with dealers trying to deal shit. Took a loss, been going through some deep shit. Still swim with sharks on the deep end. Turned it up a notch, hit the kill switch. Niggas play bent, we gon' kill shit. Streets cruddy, make me have no feelings. Should cop the coupe with no ceilings. Hop out looking like something to see. Stuntin' hard shit ain't nothing to me. Earned everything, nothing come free. Keep a pistol, ain't nothing to beef. Hop out, look like something to see. Stunt hard shit ain't nothing to me. Earned everything, nothing come free. Keep a pistol, ain't nothing to beef. Shit, I don't know where to begin. Hell on earth, I'm a demon. Fuck with you, well, that depends. Don't want them think that I need them. So that good and that decent. Strapped up on the defense. Run the streets, I need deep in. Swim with sharks on the deep end. Shit, I don't know where to begin. Hell on earth, I'm a demon. Fuck with you, well, that depends. Don't want them think that I need them. So that good and that decent. Strapped up on the defense. Run the streets, I need deep in. Swim with sharks on the deep end. I measured twice, cut once. So breaking down, bagging up. I grab the scale, weigh it up. Money came, pocket stuff. Nice chains, diamonds cut. Miss a nice watch, gon' stunt. Need a drop top, roof cut. Apply pressure, run it up. They say I'm special, kinda rare. Design it down, they gon' stare. Get my chicks bags, nails and hair. Buy shoes and travel anywhere. Try knock them down by the square. For them rainy days, I'm prepared. So hitting sales a major player. Pulling bips off the air. Paid $3,000 for this jacket. Can have all my eggs in one basket. Spread it out so feds can't track it. Tap in, my shooters gon' blast it. Plugged in with bosses really trapping. Got a number and I'm catching. With a sitting full, I'm just asking. Been cashing out, bringing cash in. Shit, I don't know where to begin. Hell on earth, I'm a demon. Fuck with you, well, that depends. Don't want them think that I need them. So that good and that decent. Strapped up on the defense. Run the streets, I need deep in. Swim with sharks on the deep end. Shit, I don't know where to begin. Hell on earth, I'm a demon. Fuck with you, well, that depends. Don't want them think that I need them. So that good and that decent. Strapped up on the defense. Run the streets, I need deep in. Swim with sharks on the deep end.